All right, time now for All Things Gators, All Things Orange and Blue. Dan Hicken, Frank Frangie. What's up, Hick?
I'm doing great, and thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the best in the business, se-ortho.com, for all your orthopedic needs in the Jacksonville area. Frank, we have concluded college athletics season. It's over, just about.
Yeah, it is, and it's been a weird year for the Gators as we wrap this thing up. Let's start with most recent, baseball and softball. You know what? In a crazy sort of way, Dan, I get the sense that Tim Walton and Sully did a pretty good job. Mid-season, their seasons were struggling. Walton got to the College World, the Women's College World Series. It's hard to get to, by the way, right? There's 300 teams, and they got there after being just okay during the regular season at points. And Sully was one game shy of a super regional, lost by a run. So am I crazy to think that down the stretch they both did a pretty good job?
Yes and no. Okay. I think that you have to give a ton of credit to Walton. Only SEC program to get to the Women's College World Series, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's a positive. It's got the #1 recruited class coming in next year. Another huge positive. They weren't going to win. Nobody was beating Oklahoma anyway. So I think that's a huge, great for softball. I think it's also fair to have bigger expectations for Florida baseball. I would be more hard on Sully than, for example, Gator basketball. I have higher expectations. I think it's fair to expect, you tell me if I'm wrong, I think it's fair to expect Florida to be one of 16 standing at the end. I don't know if you go to the College World Series every year. I get that. But I think you got to make that, especially when you're hosting. Now, to get to the regional, that was some good coaching and some good play by the team, right? To get there. But I'm a little disappointed with not getting to a super regional for the third year, one of them being COVID, of course, and the season being canceled.
Yeah, I think big picture from 10,000 feet, you're right. I will say this. I still think we're trying to figure out the new college athletics world. We're still being affected by COVID because there's 6-year players, and there's way more of those in baseball, Dan, than there is anything else, because baseball now has the draft was 40, 50 rounds. Then it went to 5 rounds. Now it's 20 rounds. The more guys are playing baseball. Baseball is a heavy transfer portal sport. So I think you have to figure out how to manage that. Sully did it differently. Very few transfers. Ryapel, the kid from Coastal, who's a really good player, was the only one, I think, certainly the only one of significance. Other teams had a bunch of them. He had a really young team. Other teams, because of the portal and because of COVID, had way older teams. He still went with what he always had done. So I think you got to figure that. I'm not making excuses for him.
No, I got you.
I'm just telling you, I think you got to work through the new college athletics thing. And I think even working through that and even having a philosophy that's a little bit different than others, they still got one run from super regional. It's not like they were an embarrassing team. They're one run to Tommy John kid early in the season. I'm okay with what Sully did this year. I do have high expectations. I think your point is dead on. But this was we're still in an odd time in college athletics.
We are.
And I think so. I would excuse this year's finish for that reason.
Yeah. It was interesting too. Do you have any theory about the runs being scored in these regionals, the numbers that were being posted, 27, 21, 20? Yeah. Is it pitchers staying around too long? Yeah. Is it, did they ship a new batch of bats that were juiced up for the regionals? I mean, did they get some new baseballs that were a little tighter? It was very interesting. It was almost back to the days. What did they used to call that, Frank? Gorilla ball back in the day?
Yeah. I'll tell you this. Baseball has always been, it's hard to, because nobody really knows how those baseballs and bats are made.
Yeah.
Baseball's always allowed that, not just at the college level. It's gone up, it's gone down, let's change this. Football and basketball aren't like that. The ball's the ball, you know?
Right.
The ball's the ball, the field's the field. There are no bats, you know? So other sports don't have that in terms of from an equipment standpoint. Golf and baseball change their equipment a lot. So because of that, the distance the ball travels is the one thing in golf and baseball that has changed over the years for that reason. So it's hard for other sports. So I don't know the answer. Something happened though. I mean, in the history of Florida baseball, they've never had two guys hit 20 home runs in the same season before this year. Something happened. Something happened. There was Oklahoma State's in the 29-15 game or whatever it was in the regional. So I don't know exactly what it was. Do you remember the 98 team? You remember that Florida team, 98? Do anything for you? Okay. That team was the number one seed in Omaha.
Okay.
Got to Omaha as the number one seed. Lost 16-10 and 14-13. Okay. 16-10, I think, to Mississippi State, 14-13 to USC, or maybe the other way around.
Okay.
And they scored 23 runs and went 2 in barbecue.
Oof.
Okay. 23 runs.
That's a little bit worse than what we've seen this time around.
So that was college baseball at its worst. I do get the sense that there's something going on. And again, baseball and golf can adjust the equipment. Nobody else can do that. So that's why. So I don't know what's going on with it. I do know this: Sully's good. Sully's legit. He knows what he's doing. There's no debating that Sully knows what he's doing, and he'll get that thing figured out. They've got a great recruiting class coming in. A lot of those young Sproat won't be back. But I think a lot of those young guys will be back that were significant. Ripel, I guess, isn't back. older Fabian's not back. But I think most of those guys are coming back, and I think Langford has to come back. Langford, by the way, one of the best players in the country that nobody's talking about. He had a great year, and he's only a sophomore. He has to come back. I think Sully's team will be okay next year.
Disappointed by the snubs for Langford, by the way. He deserved better in terms of all SEC, all American, even such. 2 football notes I want to get into. 2 quick ones. All right. One, love what Billy Napier did with the suits. Right. That's taking advantage and using the NIL thing properly. I think that's tremendous. There's a lot of kids, I'm sure, who haven't even ever worn a suit, had a suit to get met, and they're going to get 2 suits every year, which is a cool thing. Right. So I love that. If you missed that, that's one thing that Billy Napier's done, and he's getting his guys tailored suits. And it's great. It's great. But the other thing that I also want to talk about and get your opinion on is, and again, I've seen it over and over now to the point that it's got to be legit, and that is the Anthony Richardson hype. And I'm talking in terms of the next level. They're talking about him at the next level already. I think Anthony Richardson is the whole key to this football season. If Anthony Richardson is Cam Newton-like, this Florida football team can exceed expectations. If Anthony Richardson gets nicked up, gets hurt, isn't Cam Newton-like, I think we're talking about what we were expecting for this Florida football team. Your thoughts, Frank Frangie?
I think you're dead on. I'll go to both things you said. First, the suture. The suture dead on. Billy Napier has done a wonderful job, probably his whole career, but we've only noticed it since he's been the Florida coach because we weren't paying attention his whole career, of combining rules and trends with benefiting a program and helping a kid. That he's done a really good job of combining all of that. So you take NIL helps you get more money, which means give kids more money, which means recruit good players, which means recruit better players, makes your team better. But also, how do you find a way to make it benefit the kid, which also helps you recruit more good players and is a good thing to do for people? He's been really good at combining all those elements and combining all those concepts. And this is a perfect example. NIL allows you to get suits. Having custom suits, getting the word out that you're going to have custom suits helps you get more players. And oh, by the way, it's something nice for the players that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So everybody wins, and he's done a really good job of that. I agree with you. Here's my take on Anthony Richardson. Dan, I think Anthony Richardson might be phenomenally good, top 5 draft pick in the Heisman conversation, lead Florida to heights nobody could have expected. I also think he could be not so good and inaccurate and off the mark and get hurt a lot. We really just don't know.
Right.
People love the measurables in every sport. You get a 6'4", 235-pound quarterback who's got a big arm, who throws a beautiful ball, who can run probably 4.4 at least, who can jump over defenders, who's athletic and pretty to watch, and everybody falls in love with that. And that's what they've fallen in love with Anthony Richardson and the measurables. They can't fall in love with the software yet and how he processes and how he looks off defenders because we don't know. So they couldn't have fallen in love with that. All they can fall in love with are the measurables. Now, when you talk to people that know him, they think that stuff's going to be pretty good. They think he's going to be an accurate passer. They think he's going to do the little things quarterbacks have to do. And if that's true, oh my God, who knows how good he can be. But you're right. You're right. They don't have a 10-win football team without great quarterback play. Sometimes you're so good that your quarterback can be a game manager. Florida doesn't have that. Mm-hmm. They still lack defensive linemen. I still think that they're going to be just okay on defense. I think they don't have a lot of speed on offense, at least at receiver. Their personnel in the best league in America is 7 or 8 win personnel. I said that last time we did this. I said it after the spring game, and I'll say it now. It's 7 or 8 win personnel. If the quarterback, to your point, elevates them beyond that, then they can have a special year. I think you're right. But that is what it would take, I really believe.
Frank, great stuff as always, man. I'm excited about the summertime and football cranking back up here in a couple months. I'm still excited about the Florida hoop. I think Todd came on with us. The players that transferred in, I'm gullible enough to believe it, Dan. I can't wait till basketball. Wow.
And I'm the beat reporter for the podcast.
You are the beat reporter.
So, I'm kind of loyal to the hoops here, but I can't wait for that as well. I love it,
my man.
I am. So I'm looking forward to all of it. It's going to be a fun summer, recruiting the whole bit. Mm-hmm. All Things Gators. It's a good time. See you, Hick.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the best in the business, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs. Frank, we'll talk to you next time.
You too.